Rest.
They don't get right. It's 7 p.m. We can get started, Ms. Blajan. Ms. Miller.
This meeting is called to order. Councilman Nathaniel Anderson, Mayor, I did get a report from him that he would not be in today. Councilwoman Rebecca Perone,
Present.
Councilwoman Dr. Tiffany Worthy,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Samantha Whitfield,
Present.
Mayor Care McIntosh.
Present.
Let us stand for the flag salute, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, this is to announce that adequate notice of this meeting was provided in the following manner. Advance written notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal complex and was mailed to the Burlington County Times, the Intelligencer, and the Courier Times. Advance written notice of this meeting was filed with the township clerk. The clerk is directed to enter into the minutes of this meeting, this public announcement. We will now have a prayer by our township manager. Thank you, sir, for accepting.
My pleasure. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening asking for your guidance, your wisdom and support as we begin this meeting. Help us engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer and nurture the bonds of community here in Willingboro. We ask that during these conversations and discussions, we seek your wisdom, your guidance, your courage, and your strength. Be with us in these deliberations and help us to be wise in the decisions that are made for the good of all those who have placed their trust in our leadership, and give us the insight to lead with integrity. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
To you, Mayor.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Welcome welcome today. First, before we get started, we're going to have the youth in government today. These students from Willingboro High participated in a program today where they shadowed our directors and went on excursions and really shadowed them today. So they're going to come up and do council business today. So we'd like to welcome them up here right now.
Nobody wanted to be the township manager.
Madam Clerk, it is 7:05.
I call this meeting to order. Councilmember Paul LaCompte,
Present.
Councilmember Mornay Coleman,
Present.
Councilmember Kayla Wright has an excused absence. Deputy Mayor Kamaya Tucker, Mayor Garviela St. Gorton.
Present.
May you please stand for the flag salute.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is to announce the adequate notice of this meeting was provided in the following manner. On January 10th, 2023, an advance written notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal complex and was mailed to the Burlington County Times and the Intelligencer and the Court Times. On January 10th, 2023, the advance written notice of this meeting was filed with the township clerk. The clerk is directed to enter into the minutes of this meeting in the public announcement.
Madam Clerk, there's one more resolution we have to go through tonight. The paper is before you.
Resolution 2023-111. Resolution authorizing the sale of personal property to the Willingboro Board of Education for use by its truancy officer. Do I have a motion?
So move.
I second motion.
Moved by Councilwoman Coleman, second motion by Councilman LaCompte. Are there any questions or discussion on this topic? Deputy Mayor Tucker.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two questions today. Firstly, was a Jeep the most efficient vehicle in terms of size and mileage? And where will the next vehicle be purchased from in the future? And secondly, is there a tracking mechanism on the vehicle for safety measures?
Council or Deputy Mayor, thank you for your questions. Currently, the Jeep was selected as part of our soon-to-be excess fleet as we are transitioning into a fleet management program. A vehicle had been provided to the school system previously for use by its truancy officer. That vehicle, I understand, is at its end of life and is in need of replacement. We did provide them the most efficient vehicle that we had in our fleet. It is higher in age, but it is lower in mileage. So we do believe that they will still get practical use from it for an extended period of time without any additional cost for repair and maintenance. And there is not a tracking device in that vehicle. So if you choose to put one in, you would have the option to do so.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Tucker. Councilwoman Coleman.
Will the truancy officer have to provide gas for the Jeep, or will the Willingboro Board of Education provide gas money?
I believe the Board of Education would provide the fuel for its vehicles, yes.
Thank you, Councilwoman Coleman. Councilman LaCompte.
I understand the reasoning on why the car should be provided to the truancy officer. And I also don't understand why it should be provided as the value of $1. Do you agree with that?
Yes, because it is, in municipal government, you always try to develop partnerships and camaraderie with your neighboring municipalities, organizations. The school board is a viable entity in Willingboro. We have our MUA, the library, and we try to support and help each other out the best that we can, because at the end of the day, it all comes back to taxpayers' dollars. So if we can provide them a vehicle that we're no longer going to use for $1, we can't give it away, we can sell it, then that would be the most economical, practical way for all parties involved.
Thank you, Councilman McCall. Any more discussion?
No.
Madam Clerk, call the board.
Roll call for vote. Councilwoman Coleman,
Yes.
Councilman LeCompte,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Tucker,
Yes.
Mayor St. Gorton,
Yes. Council comments are now open. Deputy Mayor Tucker?
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Kamaya Tucker. I'm a junior at Willingboro High School. I had the opportunity to shadow the Director of IT, Mr. Sean O'Brien. I learned about the camera and taser docs, and I realized that the IT department is the most important department in the municipal building.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Tucker, for sharing. Councilwoman Coleman?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Marne Coleman Randolph, and I am a junior at Willingboro High School. Today, I got the opportunity to shadow Chief Burnett with the firefighters and the EMS that were on call. I had a fun time going on the ladder for a sky-high view and having a tour of everything around, and it was a great opportunity overall.
Thank you, Councilwoman Coleman. Councilman LeCompte?
Good evening, Willingboro. My name is Paula Comp. I'm a senior at Wellingboro High School, and I enjoy learning and shadowing the director of HR, Loretta Anderson, about the process of what jobs could provide, and also how you can be terminated and hired by your performance and based on your performance.
Thank you, Councilman LeCompte. Madam Clerk?
Hi, my name is Ludia Nicole Joga. I'm a junior at Willingboro High School, and today I shadowed the Deputy of Housing. I learned a lot today when it came to housing, from violation codes to construction, and I think it's a very important department because it helps make Willingboro look the way it is, and that's how we have the view of Willingboro due to that department. Yeah, I really learned a lot today, from noticing how bad people keep their houses to realizing on how the code should be for Willingboro to make everything look nice. And I didn't appreciate how much work that department puts in until today.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. My name is Garvila St. Gordon. I'm a senior at Willingboro High School, and I shadowed the Director of Communications, the wonderful Miss Tanya Jackson. And I took a bunch of photos of weddings of my fellow council members here as they shadowed their directors, and I learned how events of Willingboro go live and how they are published and brought about to the community. Any more? Nope.
No.
I need a motion for adjournment.
Move.
I second motion.
I was ready to say amen. Let's give them another hand, but let's give them another hand.
Can we give the students another round of applause? Yep. I'd like to thank the department heads again and the clerk's office and the township manager's office for doing this. It is very important to keep the young adults engaged and expose them to civic engagement and government. So I am very pleased with the job that you did today. It was excellent. So I hope you remain engaged. Madam Clerk, I'm sorry. We'll do proclamation. Deputy Mayor, would you do the honors of the lupus proclamation?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
May is Lupus Awareness Month, which was brought to our attention at the last meeting, so we will have a proclamation in honor. Proclamation in honor of Lupus Awareness Month. Whereas May is Lupus Awareness Month, the color that is worn to support lupus is purple. Lupus is a disease of the immune system. Our immune system protects our bodies from infection. However, when a person has lupus, their immune system attacks their tissue, which results in tissue damage and illness. And whereas lupus can be very uncomfortable and painful, symptoms vary for those who suffer from this illness. Symptoms include achy joints, a butterfly-shaped rash across one's cheeks and nose, hair loss, sensitivity to sun or other lights, and fatigue. Lupus can also affect body parts such as skin, joints, kidneys, blood, and can also cause easy bruising and blood clots. And whereas there are lots of people in our country that suffer from lupus, there is no known cure for this disease. Genes have been researched, but there is little evidence that confirms that genes cause lupus. However, it has been studied and confirmed that 90% of people diagnosed with lupus are women. And whereas there's no confirmed cure for lupus, there are some daily lifestyle changes that one can do to improve their quality of life. Lifestyle changes include exercising, getting enough rest, having a healthy diet, be a partner in your care along with your physician, and most importantly, asking for help to learn more about the disease. Now, therefore, I, Kaya T. McIntosh, Mayor of Willingboro, along with the Willingboro Township Council and Willingboro residents, do hereby proclaim May 2023 as Lupus Awareness Month. I encourage all Willingboro residents to learn more about how they can support individuals with lupus.
Thank you so much, Deputy Mayor.
My pleasure.
As we move on, I would like to introduce our Commissioner Director, Felicia Hobson. She has graciously accepted an invitation to come speak to us about the programs and aid that the Burlington County does provide its residents and municipalities. And specifically about the homelessness. This did come up a couple of times in the last few meetings. Some homelessness specifically around the library area. So we did invite Commissioner Director Hobson to come speak to us. So thank you, Ms. Hobson, for coming up. Thank you. Where's the
So I'm just going to quickly tell you guys a little bit about the housing services that the county offers, okay? And I do have some information to leave. I'll leave with you, Mr. Township Manager, if that's okay. So you don't have to remember the telephone numbers or the information that I'm going to share with you now. We will make sure that you all receive it. But there's two primary housing services in Burlington County. The first primary service is the Board of Social Services. The Board of Social Services has been around forever. Every county has a Board of Social Services. This is primarily for persons with low income, no income, or only Social Security. That's the Board of Social Services. The second primary housing service that we offer is the Housing Hub. The Housing Hub was created when I got into office. So we started the Housing Hub in 2019 because I saw the disparity when I was out campaigning. So the Housing Hub allows us to put the people before the process. So the Housing Hub offers everything from with people with Social Security income, limited income, or underemployed individuals. We will help them find housing. So let me just quickly go over what each agency can do or what they offer today. The social services offers, that's your SNAP benefits, that's food stamps. Temporary assistance for families in need, general assistance, which is the cash benefits, medical and family care, emergency housing, and homelessness prevention program for families and adult protective services. Now that's across the board. Board of Social Services, it's been around forever. Again, as I stated, every county has a Board of Social Services. The Housing Hub offers what I'm happy to announce, if you guys have not already heard, Burlington County will be getting a homeless shelter. That's huge for us. It's extremely important. It's one of the main reasons why I'm here. So as we get closer to that date, it is my hope that we do a groundbreaking this fall. And it is my hope that we will be concluding the Housing Hub by the first quarter of 2024. Okay, so that's coming. So just stay tuned for that. We have a linkage to the actual home program. We have housing placement assistance. We have rent arrears assistance. We have mortgage arrears assistance, security and utility deposit assistance, referrals for case management. We have a computer lab, and of course, the affordable housing and private landlord lists. That's available based upon need, and of course, based off of availability as well. So those two housing services are available in Burlington County. Who qualifies for these housing services? Any Burlington County resident. That is probably the most important thing you should remember. Oftentimes we get calls to help folks, but if they are not a Burlington County resident, we have to refer them to their home county. Although Camden is very close to us, we know a lot of people in Camden, we partner with them as much as we can. We cannot help a Camden resident. They need to go to their county. And to be honest with you guys, oftentimes, most other counties around us have more money. That means they have more availability to help their residents. So to qualify for these housing services, you have to be a Burlington County resident. Does that make sense? Okay, so who you contact is going to be the Board of Social Services and the Housing Hub. I'll leave those numbers with the township manager. And then, of course, we have the option for prospective homeowners. That's the Office of Community Development. And we have the first-time home buyer program, emergency home repairs, home improvement loans, and heater replacement programs. All of this information is what we have available. So if you see, and one thing that's not here in my notes, if you see someone that's homeless, for example, about a year and a half ago, the county extended our 211 program. So 211 is usually used for code blue, which is when you see someone out in the cold during the winter months. If they need assistance, you can call 211. Well, we've extended that to be year round. So if you know someone who is homeless, if they want assistance, right? Because oftentimes homeless people do not want assistance. We're letting you know that you can call 211 and someone will be there to assist them. If you are not familiar with approaching someone who's homeless, I wouldn't say do that. Sometimes there's mental health issues. So if you're not skilled in that, please don't approach a homeless person. But if you know someone who's willing to get the help, you can call 211. And 211 will come, will make sure that person gets off the street and get housing. Okay? Do you guys have any questions for me, concerns, follow-ups? Can I repeat anything? Yes. That is correct. We've extended it beyond the winter months. That is correct. Very good question. Anyone else? I couldn't have been that good.
Right, you did that good.
Yes. The shelter will be behind the Human Services Building on Wood Lane Road in West Hampton. behind the building. So it is our expectation that we'll get a little bit of pushback. I'm happy to have those conversations with people who want to push back about the homeless shelter. Any other questions? Yes. Yes, there is. And we'll have to do a quick assessment. Well, the county will do a quick assessment, make sure you qualify. And then there is probably a limit of how much they help with the repairs. But I have the phone number as well that I'll be using. But yes, please make sure you guys are spreading the word, getting the word out. That's one of the main reasons why I ran for office, right? We knew this information was here, but it wasn't getting out to everyone. So that's the whole purpose of me being here again this evening. Mr. Johnson, good to see you. It is. It is. So all the information about our housing services is on the Burlington County website. So when you go there, you can click on the Housing Hub. There's a link for the Housing Hub, the phone number, the director's there. The Burlington County Board of Social Services has their own site, but their link is on our page and it directs you to all the information that I just shared with you. It is there. Yes, it is. Yes. Any other questions? Nothing? No? Good.
We definitely appreciate you coming out. Oh, I'm sorry, does council have any questions? No.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. We appreciate you. You always come with the information, so we definitely appreciate you. All right. Mr. Harris, you can proceed with your manager's update. And I did want to add for the Burlington County, they do have great door hangers that have been passed out, I guess, multiple times. So be on the lookout for that. It has a nice list of the services that the county does provide.
So in relation to Burlington County, the Burlington County Commissioners were awarded more than $1.6 million in local recreation improvement grants by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, of which they're going to utilize $78,000 of to support engineering and design for a new 4-mile trail connecting the county's Willingboro Lakes Park with the Willingboro's iconic Mill Creek Municipal Park. So that is a bit of information as well, because those are two really very influential parks here in Burlington County. Willingboro was also a recipient of funds from that grant in the amount of $87,000, which we will use towards the refurbishing of the track at the JFK Center, which is really used by our residents here in Willingboro, and it's got a lot of track holes. Thank you. I thought it was a good joke, but obviously. A few weeks ago, the mayor and former mayor, Dr. Worthy, we had the opportunity to have a meeting or attended a meeting with some high-level PSC&G officials to really express the needs of Willingboro and how they were going to meet those needs, as well as them to have an opportunity to provide their outlook for our community and surrounding communities. Based on that conversation, we had subsequent conversations about some of the things that you in Willingboro have been requesting. Number one of them being LED lighting. So we had a meeting with them on Friday, Mr. Lowry and myself, and we have some news to share. Mr. Lowry.
Greetings, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of the governing body. Like Mr. Harris said, we did have a meeting with PSC&G last Friday, and in our discussions with them, they agreed that they would be willing or able to change the lighting, the street lighting in the town from the, I guess, conventional lighting that we have now to LED lights. How that works is we'll enter in an agreement with them, and they will change these lights street by street, park by park. Each agreement will be 25 lights. So we have to do a new agreement every time after we've exceeded that 25 lights, but we'll do that. This will not be a quick process. This will not happen in weeks or months. Realistically, maybe 3 years, but it will get done. And we're looking forward to doing it.
So in line with PSC&G, we did want to announce that they have started their gas line replacement. So far, they have replaced 1,700 linear feet of gas mains on Buckingham Drive, They also begun work on Blueberry Lane, and next week they will be starting on Bradford, and then they will proceed to Babbitt Lane. They should be complete on all of the streets barring any extreme weather by May the 26th. After that, they will be reaching out to each individual homeowner to make arrangements to make the connections from the homes to the new main and install new gas meters. So if anyone has any questions regarding that particular project, PSC&G has established a toll-free outreach line for Willingboro, which is 1-833-661-6400. And if anyone has any medical conditions that may be aggravated by the construction or being temporarily without gas power, we ask you to call 1-800-436-7734, and they will be working with you directly to accommodate you as they move through this project. Another long-term project that the township is working on has been the ESIP. The ESIP is in its Board of Public Utility review. It was supposed to be returned to the township today, but they needed some subsequent information from our ESIP provider. So their approval is still pending. As you know, or many of you may be aware, back in 2022, the state health benefits had a 23% increase in their premiums for 2023, totaling over $700,000 for Willingboro. At the League of Municipalities Conference in November, we had a conversation with an insurance broker from USI who has been helping us since then find an alternative to the state health benefits program. They have come back with a proposal that will initially save this township over $570,000 in healthcare costs over the next 12 months, and to provide healthcare to its employees and retirees, reflecting a savings of about 15.8%. I have invited Mr. David Mobus and Fabio Gomez from USI to come before the governing body and share the information and answer any questions the council may have as we are preparing or going to seek your approval to withdraw from the state health benefits plan and alternately fund health insurance for Willingboro with and through USI. So I would like to invite Mr. Mobus and Mr. Gomez up to the, oh, Vance is here too? Yes, he is. Vance, I'm sorry. Come on down. Thank you. We brought some handouts. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having us, and thank you, Mr. Harris. So as Mr. Harris said, Fabio is on my right, myself with USI Insurance Services. We're a large consulting firm that works with employers and public sector employers in pursuing cost-effective health benefits, right? To my far right is Vance Sybil. Vance is with a company called Performance Health. Performance Health is the carrier that we are recommending for the town. The way we came to that conclusion is we went out to all of the available carriers in the marketplace. We gathered a lot of information, which I very much appreciate the administration's support in gathering for us, because it is difficult to get all the information that insurance underwriters like to have. But we did a pretty good job of representing you guys to the various underwriters, and I'm very happy that we're able to get it very competitive. So I'm gonna try and respect your time, but I tend to ramble. So if we just follow along my bullet points here on page 3, I'll share with you some of the highlights of what we can expect in this program. So as Mr. Harris pointed out, over $500,000 of guaranteed savings. And I say guaranteed savings because there is the potential for more savings on top of the guaranteed savings. So this is a type of a self-funded plan.
But what we're doing here is we're funding at the maximum liability. So there couldn't possibly be any additional liability from claims that the town would be responsible for. So we're funding at the maximum. What could happen, though, is that claims could run better than the maximum, in which case we'd be due a surplus refund. So think of that as like a participating contract, like, you know, how New Jersey manufacturers, if you have them for auto insurance and things go well, at the end of the year, they give you a dividend. It's kind of like that. So, so there's an opportunity, and we think a pretty good opportunity to get some additional surplus refund back on top of the guaranteed savings. Okay, so that would occur on the 24th of the month after the plan starts. Reason for that is that we've obtained in this plan very broad stop loss insurance to protect the town against claims, not only that are high claims, but also on an aggregate basis for all the total claims. And we also have a 12-month tail coverage on that stop loss insurance. So claims that were incurred in the plan year might not come in at the, by the end of the plan year. They might be lagged for some period of time. That's generally how it works, 60 to 90 days. So we've actually included in the plan a 24-month protection period. So 12 months after the plan year is when the calculation of your surplus will occur. So you would get a refund on the 24th month. We've also, one of the difficulties in doing this is that we need to be able to provide the same benefits to your employees and their families that they have today, right? So what we need to do is become a carrier that's going to give us what we call an equal to or better than guarantee. So one of the documents that I have attached in your packets is that equal to or better than guarantee from Performance Health. Okay, another nice advantage of this plan is that employees are allowed to see any doctor that they want to see. A lot of times when you switch carriers, you're going from, say, a Blue Cross to an Aetna or, some other major carrier. They always have a different network, right? So that's often disrupted, right? A network change could be a bad thing for someone who's, a doctor is in the current plan, but not in the new plan, right? So with this plan, it's what it allows the members that are on the plan to go to any doctor that they choose. Okay, and not only can they go to any doctor that they choose, all of the benefits from their doctors will be treated as in-network. The whole notion of out-of-network goes away. So employees and their families are able to see any doctor that they like, and all of those services are going to be treated at the in-network benefit level. Additionally, they would never be responsible for a balanced bill. Okay, a balanced bill is something that occurs when you do go out in network. If you had the Direct 10, for example, which most of the employees here have, you go out in network on the Direct 10, the insurance company is only going to pay a usual and customary reimbursement. Anything over that amount that the doctor charges becomes the responsibility of the member. Okay, under this plan, Performance Health will negotiate every claim in full so that the member's only responsibility is whatever the copay or deductible would be for the in-network side of the plan. So everything that's out of network goes away. And then, we're happy to say too that there's a lot of additional benefits in this plan that don't currently exist on the state health benefits plan. There's a whole package of benefits from a company called Vitables that's included in this plan. It includes direct primary care, which is becoming a very, very popular thing in the health insurance world today. This is where employees can call somebody on the phone, like a concierge assistant, whether it's, for a sick issue where they need to see a doctor because they're ill, whether it's because they need to get vaccinations or a routine well visit, or whether it's urgent situation. they can contact the concierge service with Vitals Health, direct primary care service, and the services that they get through that program are free, so there's no copay, right? So you get telemedicine visits, virtual health visits, you get including mental health, and there's also over 1,000 medications that are commonly prescribed, through these programs. All of those medications would be at a zero copay. So these are, some, what we would call enhancements to the plan. So, where we're saying equal to or better than, we should really be saying equal to and better than. Because we're not only matching the contract terms that you have verbatim, both on the medical and the prescription, but we're adding things that you don't currently have. That will all be a good benefit for the employees, where they'll be able to reduce out-of-pocket spend, get more help, have the freedom to go to any doctor they want. I think that's really all that I have. And if I could just briefly introduce Vance Sybil, we'll just talk a couple minutes about Performance Health, and then we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Mayor and Council, Performance Health is a company you probably haven't heard of, right? It's a 42-year-old third-party administrator. So we've been processing claims just exactly how our clients want for 42 years. And in fact, because we're going to do equal to or better than, we're actually going to take your summary plan documents that each of your employees get, as provided by the state health plan. Somebody's going to sign off on those, and we're going to set up our computer system, pay exactly how those have been paid. So again, as David mentioned, nothing to go wrong there. I'd like to say that if you're able to build a healthcare plan, you'd want to start with each member, find out who their doctors are that they want to go to, and build a plan around them. And that's exactly what we do, which is a little bit different. It's a great concept, rather than building a network and making sure or hoping that your doctor's in there. So it's really all I wanted to say. Very happy to hopefully work with you for many years. We've got a tremendous amount of good clients that have stayed with us, including some major school districts in Pennsylvania. Need references. So thank you.
Are there any questions from council? Okay, no, we appreciate the presentation. Thank you. Thank you.
And I guess finally, Mayor and Council, we have finished our final additions to the capital plan for 2023. And if there were no further questions or requests, we would ask that permission to go ahead and move forward in the preparation of our bond ordinance, so we can introduce that in June and begin to move forward on some of our capital projects. And that is all I have to report this evening.
All right. Just thank you, Mr. Harris.
You're welcome.
Are there any events? I know this is our last meeting for May. Any events that are happening for Memorial Day? Anything for the rest of this month that the
Yes.
residents need to be aware of?
Thank you. So Ms. Foster, could you please give the council some updates on the Memorial Day activities?
Foster Military Lodge on Charleston Road, and it will start at 1:00. And we have a committee of the veteran commanders that have been meeting and making the decisions on how the program will be run and how things will be done. And they have all agreed to it, and we just sent over to communications the actual program, so we will have at least 150 available. So I'm hoping we have at least that many there. We're asking the mayor, Ms. McIntosh, to actually come and be the keynote speaker for us at that event. And we're very proud to also have the rest of the council people here, and the deputy mayor and the other council people here. And we would like to thank Rebecca Perone, who has come to some of our meetings with the commanders and gave her input as to how she felt the council and the township would like to operate this Memorial Day event. So you're probably sad you brought me up here. So I can go on.
Yeah. Bye, Ms. Foster.
And it's 11 a.m., right? It's gonna be at 1 o'clock. Oh, 1, okay. It's gonna be at 1 o'clock. At Charleston Road, Charleston Military Law, 351. Charleston Road. Okay?
All right. Thank you, Ms. Foster.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. I'm going to ask Ms. Bolden if she would come on behalf of Recreation and just share some of the programs that are going on for the rest of the month. I saw the eye roll. Okay.
I'm sorry, good evening, council.
Good
How are you?
evening.
Mayor, Deputy Mayor. I believe we're pretty much done right now. The only thing that we will have is our pools opening is going to be pushed back to June the 10th.
June 10th.
Yes. We have to get some more things, together at Country Club Pool. So we normally open Memorial Day weekend, but we're going to be pushing it back to June 10th, which is also our National Get Outdoors Day, which is health and wellness. So it'll kind of go in line with that. Okay.
Sports opening,
The tennis courts, I'm sorry. Oh, for the volunteers? Okay, I didn't see this flyer, but, thank you, because it wasn't generated from my office, but, this is just volunteers that are needed for the Go Grow, Community Garden. And the volunteer dates are May 13th, the 27th, and then some dates in June and July. So, we will make sure that this information gets out. Thank you very much for that.
Right.
Fortunately, I do not have that information. So, all right, this is what happens when you get put on the spot. And actually, this coming weekend is actually the tennis courts. The tennis courts have been open, but we're having regular play. But we do have actually our tennis programs, lessons for adult and lessons for the youth and teens as well.
Good.
Okay, all right.
Anything, nothing else at the amphitheater for the rest of this? month?
No, the
Okay.
next event at the amphitheater, I want to say is June the 9th.
June
That
9th.
will be
Okay.
the next event that we have there with the gospel show.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, up here, so I have to come back? No, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Yep.
Bolden. Mr. Lowry does have one additional announcement, and just let me give a little explanation as to why the pools are being delayed. There is a very serious leak that has been occurring in the Country Club pool, and it has been occurring for a couple of years now. And our engineer is doing some geotechnical work there to drill down into the ground, and because of that work, they're actually setting up to do substantial repair work on the pool after the season. But because of the work that they have to do, it is going to cause a temporary delay in the pool opening. So that's why the pool is being delayed just a little while. Mr. Lowry.
Greetings again. The Willingboro Seventh Day Adventist Church asked us to share this on their behalf. They're having a mental health forum, mental health in uncertain times, part 3, on May 20th from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. right at the church at 201 Veterans Parkway, Willingboro.
Any other questions from council for Mr. Harris? All right, Mr. Harris, you can proceed with the ordinances and resolutions.
So the items that we are going to be presenting for you this evening for your consideration, the first one is ordinance number 2023-10. This is a $3,750,000 bond ordinance in relation to providing for the road projects that we are looking to begin in 2023 with design and engineering for construction in 2024. We are moving towards a replacement of 12 of the worst roads in Willingboro. This program is actually being funded through the New Jersey Transportation Bank, but we are required to produce a bond ordinance, kind of like a safety net, in case we are become fiscally imprudent in paying our bills. They have a method to recoup their monies. So it pretty much is the security against the debt. And anything that we, will not use in regards to this bond will be diminished out of the costs and, what's it called? Face value, Ms. Eusebia? So anyway, they'll deduct it off of the bond amount, but I don't suspect that we'll be utilizing any of the revenues from this bond to pay back the debts to the transportation I-Bank. Next is resolution number 2023-106. This is a resolution authorizing an increase to the not to exceed amount for Pannoni Associates for the provision of engineering services to Willingboro. We're asking for an increase of $208,100 for engineering service provided by Pannoni in association with the professional engineering and inspections related to services connected with the Country Club Pool League that we just spoke about and the JFK Performing Arts Theater renovation. So that project, we are about $180,000 into already, and the pool league is about $28,100 in extra work that we did not account for when we did the initial not to exceed amounts. So we're asking that go from 175,000 to 383,000. So that's an increase of $208,100. And just for, yes. Resolution number 2023-107 is a resolution authorizing the Township of Willingboro to establish a not to exceed contract amount for Consolidated Steel and Aluminum Fence Company. We are look to go ahead and move forward with some fence repair services for the 2023 contract year. The fences that we are looking to repair are still in need of repair. There's fence along Barwell Lane, the drainage there, Bradford Lane and Baldwin Lane by the WMUA, on Charleston Road at Sedgwick Lane, Sandstone Lane drainage, and there's a double gate there. We're looking to repair some fencing on Sportsman Baseball Field, the left side of Mill Creek Park and the entrance gate there, and at the DPW back gate in the rear of the DPW yard. So we're asking for $40,000 or not to exceed $40,000 for those projects. Resolution number 2023-108 is a resolution authorizing the township to execute an agreement with Burlington County for the cooperative participation in the Community Development Act of 1974. As Commissioner Hobson just shared with us, there are certain services that the county does provide for acquisition of properties, relocation and demolition, services that benefit municipalities in the form of usually related to homes and keeping communities up to date, modernized, and in good condition. Last meeting we did, or you did, authorize us to participate in the home portion of that project, but this is the Master Community Development Block Grant that we will be partnering with through the county. So everyone understands how that works is they get a bulk of money from the federal government and state, and they are the kind of the hosts, and then a portion out to the participating municipalities based on whatever projects they submit and if they meet the requirements of the grants. So we are just renewing our participation in the Community Development Block Grant. Resolution number 2023-109 is a resolution authorizing an increase to the not to exceed amount for CME Associates for the provision of engineering services related to the improvements to Buckingham Drive. We received a $381,000 grant to repave Buckingham Drive. That was kind of the motivation to work with PSC&G so they can go ahead and do their gas line replacement along Buckingham Drive and in those areas So when we come back with the grant monies to pave those roads, they don't have to come back and tear them up a few years later, so they can go ahead and replace those gas lines. So the engineering for CME to do that was 56,000. So we're asking for an increase from 22,500 to 79,000. Resolution 2023-110 is a resolution to terminate participation under the State Health Benefits Program. As the gentleman just explained, we are asking the council to go ahead and authorize us to go ahead and move forward with the termination in the State Health Benefits Plan. We are required to provide them a 60-day notification. We are looking to transition into our plan by August 1st. That being said, we need to provide notice to the state by June the 1st, and this would be the last opportunity to get your authorization before that deadline. So we're going to ask that you do authorize the termination of our participation in the State Health Benefits Plan, and then subsequently in resolution number 1. What is it? 111? Okay, resolution number 111 is an agreement to enter into an agreement with Performance Healthcare for the provision of medical and prescription drug plan benefit coverage for our employees as they just presented to you. Resolution number 112 is a resolution omitting property delinquent on taxes from tax sale and authorizing a payment agreement and reduction on interest due and payable. There is one particular resident or property where the owner is substantially behind on their taxes. I do believe they're in the process of selling that property, and to do so, they need some liens released that we hold on those properties. They have come to the township and wanted to make an agreement where we would forgive some of the interest on that property. So the agreement was that they would make to the township a one-time payment in the amount of $175,000, which would include all of the delinquent taxes that are due in the amount of $82,607. And they would pay the township the sum of $92,392.96 and interest that was due and payable. So we are essentially giving them reprieve on $26,923 in taxes if the council so approves us moving forward with this agreement. Resolution number 113 is a resolution authorizing the refunds for the overpayment of taxes, which is pretty standard for refunds that are due because of an overpayment, whether a mortgage company paid an assessment or a homeowner received a 100% exemption and had paid, they are entitled to a refund of those taxes. Resolution number 114 is a resolution authorizing a contract with an approved national cooperative contract vendor. We are looking to enter into an agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management to provide fleet management services for Willingboro underneath the Sourcewell national contract. Willingboro has a very substantial fleet of vehicles that are quite old. They're becoming increasingly less fuel efficient, costly to maintain, and most of them do not have the safety features that are currently required in many new vehicles. Enterprise has, we approach them and ask for a proposal for them to provide us fleet management services where we will have the ability to provide newer fleets to the township while saving the township a substantial amount of money over a period of time. The projected savings over the next 15 years is totaling $1.58 million. And, historically, when the governing body, purchases vehicles for the municipality. They do it at like two for the police and two for this and two for that. We pay those leases over a period of time. We buy them back and they belong to us for a buyout of $1, but then we are responsible for the eternal maintenance of those cars. Through this program, we will acquisition vehicles and turn them over more frequently. So we get a better return on a resale than us holding on to these vehicles for long periods of time. So that is what we are looking to do, to get vehicles under leases, turn them over more frequently while the market for the vehicle is still high. We anticipate that potentially we could use these vehicles for a few years without actually costing us anything, depending on the resale value. So this is what we are looking for enterprise to kind of put into effect for the township. So we're going to ask for your approval to move forward with that particular program. Resolution number 115 is a resolution authorizing the sale of personal property to the Willingboro Board of Education for use by its truancy officer. And I believe that was thoroughly explained during the youth portion of the meeting. So if anyone has any additional questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Resolution 116 is a resolution of the council to appoint appointments to various boards and committees. And I believe that the clerk will probably go through that a little bit later. Resolution number 117 is a resolution to amend the cash management plan and designate an official federal depository. Each year, the township is required to adopt a cash management plan, which was done in November of 2023. At the time, TD Bank, January of 2023. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. It was January of 2023 at the reorganization. So if I said November, it misspoke. It happens. I'm 56. But at the time, TD Bank was our only depositor that was approved by resolution. We are asking the inclusion of US Bank NA to be included as a depository for our cash. Directly in relation to resolution number 118, where we are, which is a resolution of the Township of Willingboro authorizing professional service contract with, no, that's wrong, I'm sorry. Resolution 119, I'm sorry. Authorizing the township to invest funds in the New Jersey Asset and Rebate Management Program. Part of the task that is given to the CFO and the township manager are to not only manage the municipal's finances, but to appropriately invest them so we get reasonable rates of return. Ms. Diggs, who was our chief financial officer, has went out and investigated on our behalf the New Jersey Asset and Rebates Management Program, which I would have to kind of, if I could best equate it to you, would be like a certificate of deposit where you deposit funds into an account for a period of time, and then there was a rate of return that the township would see. And I did provide for you the different maturity dates, whether it's a 60-day, a 90-day, 120 days, and the related net rates of return based on their past performance. We know that investments are never guaranteed, but this is a program that has been approved by the state of New Jersey, so they will not just going to let us get into junk. So I'll be pretty sure that they will perform at better or at least close to what has been dictated. So for example, on a 150-day maturity, we would see a potentially, I'll say potentially see a 4.92% return on our investment, which is very good. So we are going to ask the governing body to go ahead and move or give us the permission to go ahead and invest some of our monies to capitalize and get back as much as possible. And our financial planner is here as well if the council has any questions or need further clarification. Resolution 118 is a resolution authorizing a professional services contract with Damian Escobar for a musical performance at the 2023 Willingboro Jazz Festival. Resolution number 120 is a resolution authorizing approval for general code. Ms. Blajan, our acting clerk, has requested that our code book be audited and analyzed to make sure that the content is still applicable with current state statutes and that all of our ordinances that have been adopted over the years have been properly entered into the code book and codified. Because general code is a very limited scope of the services they provide, and there are not really any other codification companies that we could go out and get a competitive quote to evaluate, to ask them to evaluate general codes, code book. We were not, it is impractical to be able to go ahead and acquire an additional quote, which is required under the New Jersey Local Public Contract Law, that any amount over $6,600 needs 2 quotes if it's going to be awarded by the qualified purchasing agent. Because we are not doing that, we need to get a resolution authorizing entering into the contract. And that's why we are coming to the council for approval of the $8,700, I believe, Ms. Blajan, to move forward with that analysis. Resolution number 121 is a resolution to ratify the contract with the Willingboro Lodge number 38 Fraternal Order of Police. We completed our contractual negotiations with the FOP. They were very amicable and productive negotiations. For the most part, it was a lot of language change and an adjustment in some operational policies. The big win for the police and the township is that we did agree to switch to a Pittman-style schedule. The benefit for the police officers is that although they are working about a half an hour more each day than they normally are, the schedule is designed where they work less during a period than they normally would. So for example, currently they would work 80 hours during a pay period, but they would work that 80 hours over a 10-day period. By them moving into a Pittman schedule, although they are working additional 4 hours per pay period, they would be doing that during a 7-day period. So they are working a little bit less during the pay period, but they are working longer days while in that pay period. The win for the municipality is that each officer will be returning to the township the equivalent of 104 policing hours during the course of the year. When you multiply that out by the number of officers that they have, that essentially equates to 1 additional police officer on duty every day, which is additional policing in Willingboro. Part of the benefit to that is that helps tide overtime costs, and it enhances the increase or the decrease in crime that we have already been experiencing and seeing. So this is a win for the police because it works better for them and their schedules and their family lives and private lives. It works better. It's a win for the township because we get more police coverage during the course of the day and the year. And on top of that, we did concur to pay them a 3% increase in their salary over the life of the new contract, which will extend to 2027. So we do ask for the council to go ahead and ratify that contract. And those are all the items that are being presented to the council for consideration this evening.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harris. We'll move on to public comment for agenda items only. You have 2 minutes. to speak on agenda items only. Please state your name and address for the record. Is there any public comment on Zoom?
Not at this moment, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Public comment for agenda items is now closed. I want to do a consent agenda, but are there any resolutions that you would like removed for further discussion?
Mayor, I had one. I'd like to pull resolution 2023-112.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to pull 116, Ms. Blige, because we have to do that. That's the boards, yes. Any other one? 112. All right, and I'm going to pull out 119 just for further discussion, further conversation, just to make sure we're making a correct call on that one. And then 120, I think there's some corrections we need to make to that resolution and clarification for the resolution that we were handed. So, okay. All right, so I make a motion to do a consent agenda for resolution. Oh, I would to do ordinance. I apologize. Need an ordinance. We need to- Yeah, no, I didn't include that. No.
Project. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Worthy, seconded by Deputy Mayor Whitfield. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
And Mayor McIntosh.
Yes. I'd like to make a motion for consent agenda of resolution 2023-106 through 111. And resolution 2023-13, 14 and 15. Resolution 2023-117 and 118. And also resolution 2023-121.
Second.
Moved by Mayor McIntosh, seconded by Councilwoman Worthy. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
And Mayor McIntosh.
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda, including resolution. Can I just say the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I can make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved by Mayor McIntosh, second by Deputy Mayor Whitfield. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
And Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
This is the hard part. All right, 112. Resolution 2023-112, resolution omitting property delinquent on taxes from tax sale and authorizing a payment agreement and reduction on interest due and payable. I need a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Worthy, seconded by Deputy Mayor Whitfield. Discussion?
Yes, I have one there.
Dr. Worthy?
Yes, I was curious if Mr. Harris could provide a bit more context in terms of why the township would entertain the reduction that the family would need to pay. I understand that they're selling the home and that it would be a savings for about $26,000 in, I think, the interest. But just wanted to understand more, why would the township consider that?
That's a good question, Dr. Worthy, and it is really up to you. As the homeowner, they come and make your request. They are delinquent already in their taxes. The benefit to the township is that we will receive not only the full amount of taxes that were assessed during that period, but an additional $92,000 in interest off of the late tax or off of the tax delinquencies. So we are recouping the taxes that are owed, and we are recouping some interest and penalties on the late taxes, even though we're not recouping all of the full amount. But the governing body is not by any means required to offer this payment.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question. Is it, so in my tenure, I don't believe I've seen, council approve this before. So I was curious, just in terms of how things are done other places. Is this something that's normally done? Is this a best practice? And, what would be the perspective from our CFO or tax collector in terms of, the council approving, this request?
So I don't know that it has been done in a residential capacity, but we did do this approval in 2022 for the owners of the Township Square property when they were transitioning owners. We did allow them to restructure their pilot agreements with the township, relieving them of a small portion of their tax obligation with their commitment that they would pay back taxes, a little bit of interest due, and make subsequent payments at specific periods of time over the next year, or else if they defaulted, it would be negated and they would go back to 100% of what they owe us. Our CFO, Ms. Eusebia Diggs, when she did this calculation, initially, their request to compensate or recompensate the township was much lower than this original number here. But she looked at the numbers, she did some calculations. She's like, no, they're gonna pay at least 75%, and this is what the number is.
Okay.
So that was the number that's presented to you, and this is what we're asking for you to approve. If you say no, then it's no, and they owe us still the full boat plus the 26,923.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to piggyback on that question, Mr. Harris, you mentioned that there was a calculation done to determine the rate or how much would be deducted from that. Is that something standard calculation that would be able to be used across should any other resident decide to come and petition the council for tax relief?
It's not a standard or, there's no policy that says that this is the number. Again, Ms. Diggs, she did the calculations and she thought for this particular instance, this was the number that they should reimburse us back to the township. There is no mandatory requirement for the council to approve these types of resolutions. So of course, like when you go into a car dealer, you are always going to try to make the best deal for yourself. But ultimately, whatever the agreement is based on the numbers that are worked out from the finance department and are just presented to you for your approval.
Okay.
And once again, if they do not meet their obligation after 30 days, that this agreement is null and void and they are obliged to the township 100% of the original amounts owed.
And then just a follow-up question is, should we go ahead and set this precedent today? Is this something that you feel is scalable? Should any other resident come and ask for tax relief? I'm hesitant to start a precedent without some type of mechanism that standardizes how much we're relieving. Because then, anyone that owes back taxes can come and say, I would like some relief, no matter if they owe $50 or if they owe $150,000, they could petition, and we don't have a standard way of saying, okay, we'll relieve 25% of what is owed, should that request be made.
So the standard for individuals that are delinquent on their taxes and that the properties go up for tax sale. Related to this particular property, I believe I have never heard of a situation where a homeowner hasn't paid their taxes in like 20 years. But this is one of those obscure, I'm sorry, Mr. Lamar?
Can she
Sure.
come in?
Sure.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you, Ms. Arnold. Hello.
This is a particular situation.
It was a municipal lien on the property.
Right.
Back in 2003. The certificate was never recorded, there's no record of it. So, I had to put all the taxes back on. So they haven't paid any taxes since '04. So, the homeowner, he has dementia, he's a 100% disabled vet. I don't know why he didn't apply for the 100% disabled veteran. I don't know what happened to him, but, his son wants to take over the property. And he does have the funds, they wanna go to closing. It's just that, the amount they're trying to give him is not enough to cover everything. And he can't afford the difference. So the only thing that we had by statute is this resolution, is if they're going to tax, cause he's going to tax them in October if he doesn't pay. So, this was the only thing that we could do for them. A municipal lien, you can do, an agreement, like a payment plan. And you can do a payment plan if they're about to go to tax them. And if it's a municipal lien, the council can, take some of the interest off. So that's why that's the only thing, but the principal is still the same, that hasn't changed, it's only the interest. And they are going to tax sale if, they can't make the payment of the 175.
And their intention is to sell,
Yeah.
you know, and recoup
They
some
said-
of it.
Yeah, and they said if, this resolution is approved, they will go to tax, they will go to closing before, May 31st.
And the sale is going from the father to the son?
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult with these type of situations to try to create a blanket policy because there's so many moving parts and different variables as to, you know, what might apply in a given situation. Here you have the issue about the mistake. Here you have the issue about, you know, the person being a vet who arguably might have been qualified for some relief. I mean, every situation is different, so it is kind of, to answer your question, Deputy, it's tough to come up with like a one size fits all. But I think in this case where you're getting all the taxes paid and you're getting a substantial amount of the interest paid, and you're ultimately keeping a property from going through the foreclosure tax sale process and hopefully being back as a viable part of the market. So I think there are some good policy reasons why you might want to consider this.
Okay, thank you.
I have another one.
Okay, good.
I don't know who would be able to help us. We have an expert in the room, I won't call by name, who helps veterans that might be able to add some context. Is there anything, any accommodations that can be made for a vet that's 100% disabled or tax exempt? Any additional provisions that can be made, given that his medical condition maybe didn't allow for him to apply for that exemption? So he didn't do the paperwork, but he's fully eligible. If we're reconsidering everything, I'm just wondering, is there any provision? Mr. Brantley, do you have any? I know this is what you do, your area.
If you could.
Do you mind coming to the mic?
100% disabled vet and having the opportunity to have been excused of these taxes, we would have to just look at the time frame in which he became 100% and maybe revisit.
The people online want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can face them. I mean, but the people on Zoom.
They can't
hear.
Yeah, so anyway, like I was saying, to go back to, say, 2010, whenever he became 100%, there is an opportunity to retroactive that situation possibly if the paperwork was filed for him. I understand he has dementia, but I am a DAV service officer, and if I could step in to try and help the son and the veteran, I'd be glad to do so. But there is a possibility that even the $90,000 in interest could be completely waived if he can prove that he was incapable of filing the paperwork. So it's something that I would hope that the council would consider looking into, if nothing else, prior to the family paying all this money for someone who fought for this country. And we got to remember, you know, it was veterans who allowed us to even be living here through lawsuits. So let's do this for a veteran if we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brantley.
So in that particular situation, the veteran would have to go through the application process for the 100% exemption. Again, they could do that. And I won't discourage them from doing that, but that may have some retroactive effect on what they're trying to do with
For the purchase of the
with the
home.
purchase of this property. So,
Mm.
All right, is there any other discussion?
Mr. Harris, do we know, do they have a closing coming up soon that they needed this resolution as a commitment to go
I
ahead?
believe
May
it was
31st,
the end of May, yeah.
So that might be a real key factor to them, whether this is gonna delay or put off their closing. So I think they should be apprised of the potential, but ultimately it's their decision how they want to proceed and, it might be that they're so far along, they don't want to blow the sale at this
Right.
point, but
Alright.
okay.
Madam Clerk, you can roll call.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield,
Yes.
and Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
And then they can still go back.
All right. 116.
Mayor, can I ask council, do we have any other boards and commission besides Municipal Alliance? Okay.
I did not receive any.
I don't have any others. All right. Did you have any? Resolution 2023-116, a resolution for the Township Council of the Township of Willenboro providing for appointment to various township and boards. I need a motion to make Tyson welcome a member of the Municipal Alliance, please.
Titus.
Titus, welcome.
Yeah, did I do that backwards?
I guess we all.
Titus.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Whitfield, seconded by Councilwoman Worthy. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
And Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-119, a resolution authorizing the mayor and council of the Township of Willenboro, New Jersey to invest funds in the New Jersey Asset and Rebate Management Program. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilwoman Worthy. Discussion. Can we get some further clarification? Good evening. Good evening.
We have with us, Ms. Samantha Myers, Senior Managing Consultant of PSM Asset Management LLC.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and Township Manager. I appreciate your time tonight. So,
Can you speak up just a little bit
Oh,
for the
good,
people
take
on
the
Zoom?
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
So as Ms. Diggs said, my name is Samantha Myers. I work for PFM Asset Management. So we are the investment advisor and administrator to the New Jersey ARM program. So starting at a very high level, the New Jersey ARM program is a permitted investment per state statute for New Jersey local governments, including counties, towns, cities, school districts, and municipal utilities authorities, other authorities across the state. So it is considered an investment, slightly different than your typical cash deposit that you have, typically used at the township. We have seen a lot of activity in the program as we see rates in this current environment much higher than what we've seen in quite some time. As Mr. Harris was explaining, we do have two different options within the New Jersey ARM program. We have the joint account, which is a liquidity option, and you can think of that as similar to a money market fund if you're familiar with a money market fund. So it does seek to maintain a stable NAV. So $1 in, $1 out. It provides daily liquidity. And then we do have a second option, which is called New Jersey Term, and that is similar to the concept of a certificate of deposit. So we do have term investments with maturities ranging from 60 days out to 1 year. And you can invest those and lock in that stated rate of return for that period of time. As Mr. Harris explained, it is an investment. It is subject to the market. I think another added benefit to the New Jersey ARM program is that there are no out-of-pocket costs for the township. So the rates that you see is a net rate. So there is an expense ratio as part of the program. So it is, the rate that you see is a net rate, no out-of-pocket fees associated with it. We do have a number of towns and counties and school districts neighboring the township that do currently use the New Jersey ARM program. And the last thing I'll mention is that the total fund right now is just north of $2.1 billion. So it is a large, large program. So I will pause there if there are any questions or clarification I can provide.
Any questions from council?
No.
No?
Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
And Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Resolution 2023 120. First, I just want to say, council, the copy that I had before you, that I just had printed, that red mark was for me, to fix from the QPA. I just printed the voucher out, so you have, when you, by the time you sign tomorrow, y'all have already approved to take this out of, council special projects.
Yes.
So that's what that will, reflect. Resolution 2023-120, a resolution authorizing the Township of Willenboro to acquire comprehensive codification services to update the township local code book. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Councilwoman Worthy, seconded by Deputy Mayor Whitfield. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Worthy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
There is no treasury report for today.
No
I
minutes.
thought we had approval of minutes.
No.
Not-
We don't
All
have
right,
any.
we won't be doing that. Moving right along. Proceed, Mayor.
Yeah, you proceed to your updates.
And, just want to give a few numbers. The clerk office is forever on the phone. We have received 1,261 calls and made 1,314 calls. We had 70 Oprah, and I want to highlight and kudos out to the Clerk's Department for a successful rabies clinic on the 10th of May. And along with Sharon Anderson with a team that she had invited as well. I think we did over 75 rabies shot. However, we did find, I think it was just one family that had more dogs than they were supposed to have. And unfortunately, we had to report that to animal control because you can only have two dogs in Willenboro. And we also found out that there was a one home that had their own private breeding shed in the back that the health department also called us about just this morning. So they're doing their investigation and they'll be getting with animal control as well. And I also want to highlight early voting in June, June the 2nd through the 4th at our public library. The time, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Subject to your questions, that's all I have for tonight, Mayor. June the 6th, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And on the back table and on the website, I believe is the list of all the polling places.
Okay. Any questions for the clerk, Madam Clerk? All right, thank you. Moving on to unfinished business. Does any council member have anything for unfinished business? All right, Mr. Harris, I know you want to just get some consensus from council.
That's correct. So earlier in the year, you approved an ordinance to provide some park bench space in Mill Creek Park for certain members of the National Pan-Atlantic Council here in Burlington County. Part of the requirement or the stipulation of the ordinance that the design of the bench to be installed would be approved by the governing body before them being ordered and installed. So I was just presenting to you a proposal that had been sought for a style of bench that has kind of quasi been selected for installation in the park. And I would like to just meet the terms of the ordinance by getting your approval and not just make a unilateral decision or decision from an outside entity as to what benches are going to be installed there. And then we would go ahead and provide the pricing information to the Pan-Atlantic Council, along with an additional charge of $650 for the installation of the concrete pads. So I do believe the bench style has been presented to you all. And so I just kind of look for your thumbs up, thumbs down. We need other options.
Madam Mayor, yeah, comment?
Yes.
I know this was an initiative that Councilman Anderson spearheaded and has done quite a bit of research on that and facilitated meetings with the Pan-Atlantic Council. And I would request, if time isn't a factor, if we'd be able to reconsider it during the time when he's present, so that we're not moving forward without his perspective, since this was his initial initiative.
Quite a fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
I
that-
agree with that. All right, so we'll hold off. We're okay with the time, Mr. Harris? Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
Quick, Mr. Harris, just maybe you already answered it, but so you are confirming that they are not on a timeline as far as producing this to us, as far as their dates to order whatever they need from us. That's not the case, is that right?
No, that's not
Okay.
the case. I know some are more a little eager to move than others. But we just installed the pads in Mill Creek Park for the installation of the benches.
Right.
So, they're in the curing process now. So, they would be able to move forward with the ordering and installation at any time. But once again, the terminology in the ordinance was that the design would be approved by the council.
No, yeah, I understand. I just wanted to make sure we weren't holding them up just in case they had a deadline.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else for unfinished business? All right, anything for new business from council? No? All right, moving on to public comment. We will now open, y'all noisy over there. Mhm. I know Nat's not here to keep you in line, but. All right, public comment is now open. Please, hold on, wait a minute. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 4 minutes. Public comment is now open.
Celestina Miller, 11 Hollis Lane,
Hello.
citizen of Willingboro, 58 years. I passed my 90th birthday,
Okay.
and I want this council to do something about people my age and younger, like you people right there. We need pickleball courts. We're the only township in this county so far that doesn't have a decent outdoor court. Fairmont Park needs to be resurfaced. You can't bounce the ball there. And I was very pleased that the county got $1.7 million, which is being distributed among all of the towns. And Willingboro is getting, I think, 87,000?
Yes.
For what?
Track.
For another track. I mean, this is the upcoming sport for people that are older, like me. And I play play with people that are 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. The next oldest person on the sofa plays with is 84.
Wow.
So I would really appreciate council thinking very seriously about doing something for middle-aged people.
What was the address again?
We have a lot of activities for children, but we don't have any for middle-aged people.
Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Thank you for listening. And I'm sorry, Matt isn't here.
I know, we know you love Matt, I know, sorry. Mr. Johnson?
Gary Johnson, 54 Gramercy Lane. I would like first off to start by saying what an outstanding job by our young students.
Yes,
I'd
yep.
like to see more of that. Certainly hope they maintain their interest, because that's what this country needs.
Right.
Is some people with ambition and looking forward to this country. But I'm up here today to say something good about Willingboro. Not that it needs it, but I encountered something good and want to express it. On Saturday, and for those that are interested in why I've had modifications to my physical appearance, I participated in the annual Del Payne Memorial 5K. It hasn't been running in a while because of COVID, and it was rained out last year, so I haven't run it in a while. So I was doing pretty good, but about the 4K mark, my mind said go and my body said no. And I went down and I immediately realized that I'm on blood thinners anyhow. I was bleeding like the proverbial stuck pig. But I also became aware very quickly that I had two other gentlemen who were participating in the race that had stopped to help me. They initially said, well, we're going to get you somewhere and you can wait for the ambulance, which I didn't want anyhow. But I said, no, I'm going to finish this race. And they were kind enough to persevere with me as I staggered in and made it to the finish line. And they let me stagger across on my own and then immediately find someplace to sit down and wait because the squad was there waiting for them. But I mean, they were in the race too. And they didn't have to stop for me. They could have got up there and left me to bleed a while and then see if I could get up again. But they didn't. And that to me typifies Willingboro to some extent. You know, this is just a great place to be. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Weston?
Good evening, William Weston, 44 Bosworth Lane. Just a couple announcements. Oh, and I really have to give a shout out to Mr. Johnson because that perseverance, you know, it was all bloody and he made it through and got his medal.
Yes.
But there are some things happening in Willingboro. There's if you're concerned about your water, there's a WMUA meeting tomorrow. So if you go to WMUA.info, you can get the link for the meeting and it's at 6 p.m. And then the next day, you know, Willingboro does have a neighborhood watch. And the next neighborhood watch meeting is Thursday, and it'll start at 6:30, and that's the Reva Foster Senior Center. And I hear they're having a candidate forum. Well, they're having a candidate forum. And on Saturday, the NAACP, NAACP will be at the Willingboro Public Library to view The Road to Brown at 11:30 a.m. Learn what led to the landmark 1954 decision, Brown versus the Board of Education, and how Charles Hamilton Houston paved the way. It'll be a robust discussion, and the groundbreaking decision that was rendered May 17, 1954, and that decision was separate educational facilities for white and African-American students were inherently unequal. Racial segregation in public schools violated the Fourth Amendment. So we'll be learning about how that transpired on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weston.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Kim Brantley, 44 Woodhaven Lane. I would like to be able to face the audience if I could, please. So my name is Kim Brantley. I want to thank everybody this evening for being here at this meeting. I want to introduce myself as a candidate running for Township Council. Mr. Borden, Lionel Borden, and myself were running mates, and we're just looking to be a part of this beautiful thing we have called the voting rights. So with that being said, I want to just talk a little bit about my agenda, and that is to bring back a better Willingboro. That's my slogan. And with that being said, we're looking at housing stabilization, as we talked about this family. Instead of them losing a home, being able to stay here and stay in this stable housing, stay in this community. I'm looking at things like bringing back the ROTC program at the high school. I spoke to Dr. Outlaw the other day. We're setting up a meeting so that we can maybe before September, look at the numbers and what it would take to bring that back, which is a good thing. I don't know, it's just like having this opportunity to run here in Willingboro. It's a blessing to be able to go through this process. And I just like to ask for your vote on June 6th, Borden Brantley. We're asking you to vote across and not down. Hey, that's the way it is. If you look at the ballot, we're in column 2. So that's where you need to vote if you want to vote for me and Mr. Borden. But with that being said, I don't want to run out of time, but I do thank everybody for their time. I thank Council Lady Worthy for giving me an opportunity maybe to assist this veteran, because one of the reasons why I asked to turn around, because last time I had the opportunity to speak, one of the veterans that I was helping, a widow of a veteran, she said, well, Mr. Brantley, I wouldn't know you if I walked right by you. So next time you go there, you need to turn around and face the audience. And I grew up in a way that you should be able to look a man in the eye and tell him how you feel and tell him what you want to do. So that's what I'm trying to do tonight. Just wanting to let y'all know who I am and what I'm about. I'm a DAV service officer for Chapter 42 in Willingboro. I have veterans come to my home on a regular basis, a weekly basis, to file overdue claims that is needed for our widows. It's not just about the veteran. Some of these veterans lost wives. They left wives here to maintain, and they're due DIC benefits, which is a pension for them. They're due home aid and attendance benefits, where they can have someone right there in their home care for them without going to a nursing home. And for any veteran, spouse, son, daughter that lives in Willingboro, whether I win the election or not, I'm here for you. You can go to my website, you can call me, and that's what I do, because that's my call from the Lord. Thank you and have a blessed evening.
Thank you, Mr. Brantley.
Jacqueline Mack, Maplewood Lane. I'd like to first say that it was a wonderful program that the young people from high school had. I wish their parents knew about it. I wish they had come to soon, because I'm always very proud of them. And I say to myself, and this takes me back to why we need civics in our high school. Because a lot of 18-year-olds, when you say, make sure you vote, make sure you register, what? Why? Unless they've been into knowing what's going on in their township, they have no idea. They pay taxes, they have no idea where they go. If you run some money, machine, it's just wow. So anyhow, that's something that I've always wanted to say. And the young people did a great job tonight. Mrs. Belash, thank you for all the help you gave them in the meeting, because I was here early and saw that. And to all the other directors. Secondly, I was going to talk about this last week after Mr. Knock mentioned it. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm nervous tonight. In connection with the liquor license. When that came up 2 or 3 times, I think it was 3 times we voted on the referendum. I've been here a long time too. We were assured that it could never change unless we had another referendum run the same way. In other words, you had to get 15% of votes of the people signed on a petition to even get it on the referendum. I mean, there would be no such thing as opening a liquor store or opening a bar around the corner, because that's what everybody feared. Once one part of it went through, would they just add on? They said, no, it had to start all over again. So that was the other thing. And last, I'd like to say thank you for planting the flowers along the parkway. I noticed that last week. They look great. Need some rain on them to help them grow. But I was wondering if we could include some flowers in front of the Kennedy sign. There's a little mound in front of the sign. There are 2, I don't know what they are, little bushes. That's it, and weeds. They do mow the weeds now. They didn't for a while, but it would be nice. That is, you know, people are paying money to come into the banquet hall, and I think there's a little garden outside the banquet hall too. But the last time I was there for the autism program, it was just full of weeds too. So I hope they planted that. I'm not sure. I'll see this week, but anyhow, it would be nice to have those 2 areas. Thank you very much.
Ms. Mack, for clarification, in front of the Kennedy Center, are you talking about in front of the doors or the sign?
The doors, there's a
Yeah.
plant,
Mm-hmm.
and that had nothing but weeds in it when I was there for the autism program. Now, the sign out by on Kennedy Way, I'm talking about that.
That,
too.
okay, that's, okay.
There's a circular garden.
Mm-hmm.
Well, semi.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mack. All right. Host, can you start bringing in the public comment from the Zoom?
Yes, Mayor. We have E. Anderson.
Hello, Council. Thank you. Eric Anderson, 50 Lake Drive. My residence sits right across from Willingboro Lakes Park, and there's a small dirt path entrance that comes out onto the road that the county has marked as private on their map for the lake. Being where my property is, I see people entering the park late at night, saying 10, 11 o'clock at night. Not sure what I should do in regards to that. I've talked to the park rangers and they seem to believe it's a police matter. But I guess I have several questions. I mean, there's a gate and a lock gate at the main entrance. I'm kind of confused why there wouldn't be some sort of gate on these side entrances. And also the fact that the county marks the road as private. You know, what does that mean? Does that mean if people are driving down the street at night and they park and they go into, are they trespassing? And I know there's going to be a phase 2 to the park improvements. And I was wondering if there's any current information of when any of those meetings are going to take place, so I can bring this to the county's attention also. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
All right, Anna Payanzo Cotton.
Good evening, members of council, fellow residents. This is Anna Payanzo Cotton from 29 Noland Lane. I am here to speak on behalf of the Willingboro Public Library. I'm honored to serve as a trustee of the library. And I want to just take a few minutes to thank the township and the community for helping us to be the township's library and to be the resource that people need within our community. Our mission is to serve as a diverse, interactive, digital, and physical knowledge hub that is built by and for the Willingboro community. And we're just, one example I want to acknowledge Mr. Johnson and thank you for your participation. I want to thank the members of the community who came out to be a part of our 10th annual Del Payne Memorial 5K walk, run, and kids fun run on Saturday morning at Mill Creek Park. Thank you to Councilwoman Worthy, Councilman Anderson, who are also out supporting and encouraging the participants. It was really just a very fun fitness and family event on Mother's Day weekend. And it was just a great way to get the weekend started. So thanks for everyone for coming out and being part of the healthy community activities, and the support of the township just really made it all possible to support our library. We are just grateful to be present. We have a strategic plan that's focused on excellence in communication, partnership, collaboration, stewardship, and sustainability, and growth and adaptation. And this is just one way that we connect with and collaborate with our community. And we just want to take this time to remind you that we're here for you. We're open evenings, we're open on Saturdays, and we are not just books. We have hotspots, we have Chromebooks, we have Kindles, and we have ebook lending, and we have great programming that is, some of it is still virtual, and some of it is in person, but we have Dungeons and Dragons groups, we've got career readiness activities, and we also serve as a Health Connect library that offers links to telemedicine and health literacy resources. So just, come check us out. We're here for you. We've circulated last year over 34,000 items, lots of downloads and AV materials. And so, just come take advantage of this resource that's available for you. We can be reached at willingboro.org and are also on Facebook and Instagram for information on upcoming events and available resources. Thanks again so much for your support and for your time this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Cotton. And just for the benefit of new residents, we are just taking public comment right now, and we will answer all questions at the end of public comment once everybody's asked their questions.
Okay, Maddie Mallory.
Good evening, Maddie Mallory, Hudson Place. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Brantley for using the microphone and turning around so that we can see who he is. He's spoken several times, but his back is always turned, and it was nice to see who he is. And I appreciate his presentation and the fact that he does help vets and widows and all of those things. I wanted to address the microphone situation because I know in the past the microphone has been on the side, and again, it would be nice if it were to be placed in a position so that those of us who are on Zoom are able to see the individuals that are speaking. Now, I think her name is Ms. Miller. She spoke last week. I could not hear what she was saying. And, again, everyone's back is turned. So it would be nice if the microphone could be placed in another position. The other concern I have is that this afternoon I escaped a possible accident. I live on Hudson Place, and my street goes into Charleston Road. The speed limit is 25, and I have been fighting this for quite some time. And we have a neighbor that lives right at the corner, and he has shrubs that are overgrown. Every spring and every summer, we have this situation. And we have to pull all the way out into Charleston Road because there's a curve. So I pulled up, looked, pulled out, and someone was right on my tail. I would like to know, who do I report this to? Because we have been fighting with this neighbor for 4 or 5 years about the shrubs every year. So, you know, you can tell me the best person to ask about this situation. The other thing is, there's quite a bit of overgrowth in the back of properties on Kennedy Way from Charleston Road to Van Sciver. And I wonder, is it the responsibility of the homeowner to clean that up, or is it the responsibility of the township? And I have spoken on this in the past, because coming into Willingboro and seeing all that overgrowth in the back of those properties is not very attractive. So I wish we could address that situation and try to clean it up. It just does not look good for the township. And I think those are all of my comments for this evening. Thank you.
Mallory, real quick, can you just give me the position? You said where the shrubs are overgrowing, what intersection that was again?
Hudson and Charleston. I don't want to give the address. I will give it privately rather than, yeah, but I have the address.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right, Carl Turner.
Good evening, council. Carl Turner, 86 Earnshaw Lane, and president of the National Panel and the Council. I see that Councilman Anderson isn't here, so I'll be brief in our little discussion, but this has sort of been presented a little bit to him. We had an executive board meeting last night, and instead of going over all of the particulars, what I would try to summarize this up as, if it would be possible that for the bench ordinance, when you come out to determine which benches and the costs you're going to use, if we could, the National Panel and the Council could be a part of those discussions. A lot of the orgs had a problem with the cost just for the bench, and then having a pad put on, which didn't include the pad nor the plaques. And they felt that it was taken away from the scholarships and charitable events that they basically do, the funds that was actually totaling up to. But I will wait until, I guess, Councilman Anderson gets involved, but we would like to be a part of those discussions if it is at all possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
All right, Sharon Anderson.
Good evening, everyone. This is Sharon Anderson from Bellhurst Lane. And I want to thank Councilor Bligent and her team for a really terrific rabies clinic last week. It was a wonderful day. It helped that the weather was so gorgeous. People were very pleasant and organized. I want to acknowledge that it wasn't me, but Borough Pet Project that really worked with the council or with the clerk. And we had several organizations helping us. In particular, I want to acknowledge a family-owned business named Full House Pets and our animal control contractor, New Jersey Animal Control, because it is with their help that we were able to provide free dog tags, phone numbers and names for anyone who wanted one. And with their help, we're actually extending that offer. So if anyone wants to go to Borough Pet Project in Facebook or Nextdoor, or if they want to text me, yes, I'm going to give my number here. It's 508-864-6792. Give me the name you want on the tag. Could be yours, it could be the dog's, and phone number. And we will arrange a free dog tag. I'll be delivering them after Saturday. So this offer is good for anybody getting me information by Saturday. Microchips are wonderful, but people have to have readers. You don't even need to go to the microchip. You don't have to go to the shelter. You don't have to call animal control if you have a dog have their information on their collar. And people think, oh, my dog will never get out. 1 in 3 dogs gets lost at some point in their life. And believe me, it is a heartache when that happens. You will be very happy to know that your phone number is with your dog. I want to thank the Friends of Burlington County Animal Shelter, the shelter itself, and Tiny Paws Rescue for also coming to the rabies clinic, for sharing their information and showing their adoptable dogs. The Cat's Meow was also there. We did have some cats get rabies shots, and we had people asking about cats. The Cat's Meow has been a great partner to us, and they're having a kitten party this Saturday in PetSmart Delran, 11 to 3. People can go there to adopt a kitten. I'm seeing a lot of people asking, where do I get a kitten? Where do I get a dog? And then I see them getting offered cats or dogs that don't have vaccines or haven't been fixed. And I wonder if a person realizes that a free dog is never free. The vaccines and meds and everything is going to run you $400, $500, $600. If you adopt through a rescue, you get a pet that has already been fixed, they're already vaccinated, and with the Cat's Meow, they're in a foster home. So you know about their personality. So I would strongly urge anyone who would like to involve their kids in learning about kittens and cats to head to PetSmart this Saturday. And thank you again to the clerk's office. I'm looking forward to more collaborative events in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Okay, Pat Lindsay Harvey.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, and fellow residents. First, I want to apologize. I ended up having to get on the meeting late, so I was sorry I missed the students. I know they did a phenomenal job today. Secondly, I want to let you know that EduSports Academy, Swing to Tee Golf is hosting a Women's Golf Day. It's an international day to encourage more women and girls to play golf. It's going to be Friday, June 2nd at the Kennedy Center. It's a free event. It's 2 hours of golf instruction, 2 hours of networking. If anyone's interested in attending, they can email at info.edusports.academy.org. Lastly, I want to echo Ms. Paisana Cotton's comments about the 5K. We really appreciate everyone's participation. Thank you to council for coming out. I am very glad that Mr. Johnson is okay after his fall. I think it was nice that he went across the finish line, but everyone was very concerned about his fall. So I'm glad he's okay. That's all I had this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lindsay Harvey.
All right, Beulah Williams.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Deputy. Good evening, Council manager or clerk and attorney and everyone. Good evening. This is Beulah Williams from Botany Circle. Thanks for the meeting tonight. It gave me a warm and fuzzy feeling how responsive you have been to our questions and our concerns last week. We were concerned about the homelessness, and you brought a resource person. And I can't wait to call up this certain family who, because of heart surgery and, they're going through financial problems and they're scared that they will lose their home. And I can't wait to give them some of the resources that I learned tonight. So thank you so much. Then our deputy, when she read the resolution and gave the information on lupus, that warmed my heart because my daughter has lupus. And this was so informative. And I appreciate that information so very much. I'm proud of the children. My 3 children went through Willingboro High School. They ended up at Princeton, American University, Kane University. So they got their start from Willingboro education. So, you know, I'm proud. I love Willingboro. I love what you have to offer. And I so appreciate what you're doing for our little community. Thank you for announcing our Mental Health Day. I just want to expound a little bit that this is part 3. Part 1 and 2 was done on Zoom, but this will be done in person. And as we know, whether we personally have mental challenges or we have friends or co-workers or church family, whoever, we know somebody. And this, you know, experts will be there offering, again, their time and their expertise. And it would be nice to see our mayor or deputy mayor or council or everybody sitting up there that I appreciate. I appreciate all of you. It would be nice for all of you or some of you to attend. So we are cordially inviting you to come on out. And the community would love to see our representatives there saying, well, they care about us as well. So if you can, please come on out. It's a mental health day, as a matter of fact. Dr. Pastor, forget his name, he'll be the keynote speaker. Then there'll be a nice lunch. And after the lunch will be the workshop in the afternoon. So choose whatever part you want to attend. You're cordially invited and welcome. And yes, so everybody, you're invited. And our host church, St. Paul's, will be there. As a matter of fact, Miss Ruby is a member of St. Paul's. She'll be presenting as well. So we have a wide array of experts who will be presenting, and we hope you'll be there. NAACP, Mr. Weston, you're invited as well. If you don't have a previous engagement, I hope to see you there as well. Hope to see everybody. God bless you. And thank you so much for all you do. Nice presentation, Mr. Why do I forget his name all of a sudden? Our township manager. And last thing, I appreciate the questions because the questions were engaging. And as a result of asking those questions, I was able to understand more about why this large discount was being offered, you know, this rebate or however you pronounce it, why it was being offered. And it shows that you want to hear what's going on, but you know that the public wants to know as well. So with these questions are enlightening for us, the public. So thank you. God bless you. Have a good evening. Hope to see you on the 20th.
Thank you, Ms.
Workshop.
Williams.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, Tarina Williams.
Thank you. Serena Williams, 8 Botany Circle. In continuation of my mom, I have pretty much all thank yous. Thank you so much for the proclamation for lupus awareness. It is greatly appreciated. That's one of the highlights of each meeting, that we take the time to do proclamations on different awarenesses that aren't getting enough attention on the news. So it's really important that all of us attend these informative council meetings. Last Wednesday was Put on Purple Day for lupus awareness. And I shared this with Terry of Boro TV, and he took the time to post it on Boro TV. So a special thanks to him and all the great work that he's doing, because if we don't already know, Boro TV is on Facebook, and it's a great way for us to learn about different events that happen in our township. people retire, like Mr. Vogel that just retired. He acknowledged his great work that he did while serving in the township, appreciation weeks and so on. So I really appreciate him posting it on his page. So special thanks. Thank you for also, wow, there's so much to thank you. Thank you for the, to the communication, not the communications, I forget her name. After the proclamation, we learned about all the different resources, and it's good to know that there's going to be a homeless shelter right here in our neighboring town, because a lot of people are hurting, as we know, close by. So I really appreciate that thorough report that we received from, I believe her name was Miss Felicia. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. Thank you so much for announcing our Community Mental Health Day. Greatly appreciate that, because we want as many people, young and old, to benefit from this community service event. And then last but not least, seeing all the different men and women who are limitless in their age brought to mind that next Saturday we're hosting Celebrate Our Golden Agers in the afternoon at 3:30 to 5:30 in honor of the men and women who've done so much to us, so much for us, whether it be individually to our town or to the country or the world as a whole, because look at the gentleman who's a veteran but is running for office. Our town, as you know, is rich with so many valuable people. So please be encouraged to attend, and during this month, of course, and beyond, take the time to love and appreciate those men and women who are older in age but limitless in their capabilities. It will be May 27th, which is next Saturday, 3:30 to 5:30. May God bless. Thank you so much for your time and dedicated service.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
You're welcome, Mayor McIntosh.
Is there anyone else for public comment on Zoom?
Yes, Shirley Dilworth.
Good evening, everyone. Shirley Dilworth, Newport Lane. I am very excited to share with the group an exciting program that is happening this summer at my church, Parkway Baptist Church. This year, instead of having the usual Vacation Bible School, we are hosting for the first time the National Bible Bee Summer Study Program for kids and for teens, children between the ages of 5 and 18. This program promises to be an exciting program, where kids can have an opportunity to learn about God's word, to meet new friends, and friends from throughout the Central and South Jersey region, and they will have food and fun activities. Because this is a regional program, and we are the only host church in the South and Central part of New Jersey. This Vacation Bible School is, in the past, let me back up a little bit. In the past, we have had Vacation Bible School for either 1 week or 2 weeks at the most. But this year, we decided to take a look at this program and to take Vacation Bible School to a whole new level. So this is a summer study program, and it will start on June 4th, and it goes through August 6th. Now, that sounds like a very long time, but we will be meeting as a group 1 day per week, and that will be like on a Sunday afternoon. The rest of the time, the work will be done, at home with the students and their parents. on June 4th we're having a community cookout. That's the first day of the program. That's the kickoff day, that Sunday, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. The entire community is invited to come out to take a look. There will be, on-site registration if you have not decided to register online for our Vacation Bible School. It is, the program is free. It's open to, the entire public. So please come out and take a look, see what the program is all about. We will have food at the kickoff event. Okay, there will be games for for the children. There will be giveaways and there will be activities. So if you are not sure whether you want to do this, at least you can come out and take a look on June 4th to see what it is all about, because that is the kickoff day. We are excited about it, and we are excited to bring this to our community, to Willingboro. Thank you all for listening, and have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Dilworth.
Right, Sarah Holly.
Good evening, Council. Sarah Holly, Tioga Lane. I have two things to talk about tonight. One has to do with the flowers. Since residents are requesting flowers, and before I say that, I want to thank the council for the flowers along Levitt Parkway or Veterans Parkway. But since residents are requesting flowers, and it seems as though that you're honoring residents' requests, I am requesting that you add flowers along Beverly Rancocas Road, because that's the major entranceway into Willingboro. And that parkway or road should also have flowers. As a matter of fact, my opinion, that road should have been first with the flowers. And this is not my first time talking about flowers. I talk about it every year. But since we're doing flowers, how about we get some along Beverly Rancocas Road? Also, another concern that I have is the overgrowth of bushes at the intersection of, I guess, JFK Parkway there by the hospital. Is that Willingboro or is that Burlington Township? Perhaps the township manager should have a conversation with Burlington Township and see who's responsible for that overgrowth there. It's very dangerous coming around that curve. And then the last thing has to do with the clock. Who's responsible for the clock? I've noticed the last two meetings that some residents are given additional time, and some residents, as soon as the clock is in 01, 1 second left, time is being called. Really need to be tried to keep a closer notice as to the clock and make sure you're fair to all of the residents and give everybody the same amount of time and the same amount of consideration. Thank you, Council. You guys have a great night.
Thank you, Ms. Holly.
All right, Tanya Watts Brown.
Yes, good evening. How you doing? My name is Tony Brown from Glenview Lane. I would like to bring up the fact that I have several issues in regards to tonight's. One being the fire hydrants. Being a young boy coming from the city, I moved to Willingboro, and like I said, being a younger boy, the fire hydrant has always been a major part of my life growing up. You know, as a child, playing with the fire hydrants. I came down to Willingboro and I noticed the 20 years that I've been living here that there's really no caterings to the fire hydrants. You know, they're ashy, they're not bright. It's like no one has taken the time to paint them to basically give the fact that they are emergency factors that are needed in this town. And I was even willing to go ahead and paint my own fire hydrant in front of my home to make it more vibrant to my neighborhood. But I feel as though that shouldn't be my issue. And that's why I'm bringing up tonight. I also would like to reiterate and with Ms. Holly in regards to the mediums on the highways. A reason I moved down to Willingboro was because of the landscaping in Willingboro was so vibrant back in the days. There was flowers all the time. Now I notice over the years that the city just basically sprays weed killer on the mediums, and they just kill the weeds and don't even bother to even remove the weeds once they die on the medium. So it looks horrible driving into this town. Another thing that I would like to bring into light is that I was offered to have my home number posted on the in front of my home, in front of the driveway, and I was offered to pay a certain fee. I mean, as a taxpayer, I'm wondering, why should I even have to pay for that? Like, that should be something that should be an incentive to taxpayers as a Willingboro resident. I'd like to thank you for taking my time and my consideration into tonight's office, and I thank you all as well.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is there anyone else for public comment? All right, public comment is now closed. All right, Mr. Harris. We'll start with Miss Celeste Miller, the pickleball at Mill Creek. Do we have anything in the projection to fix? Fairmount, I'm sorry, Fairmount.
So we had talked about pickleball at the last meeting.
Yeah.
And we had done research on including pickleball courts potentially at JFK. So that's nothing that's off the table. But there is no plan to do it in this fiscal budget year. So maybe in 2024, if the governing body sees fit, they can allocate funding for pickleball courts.
But it is being currently offered at JFK currently, right? And outdoor, right, okay. All right, that's something we're just gonna look into, because we did just pass the budget, right? And pass capital, well, we're in the midst of passing the capital budget. So we just have to look at that a little bit closer to see what areas could be utilized for pickleball and what cost would be associated.
There was an old tennis court that was behind JFK, the building that's still there. It's just overgrown, and we had actually looked at that location. The engineer looked at it, and I think his estimates were a little over $300,000, or in between 3 and 6. And that just wasn't on the list at that time. So that's something that can be revisited.
So $300,000 to $600,000 is what we.
Correct. Yeah, it was in that range. I don't recall what the exact figure was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I appreciate that. All right, Mr. Weston did just mention, there is an MUA meeting tomorrow. And I believe the fire hydrants are property of the MUA.
Correct.
All right, so Mr. Brown, the MUA is in charge of the fire hydrants. If you attend their meeting tomorrow, they can probably get some more insight to the fire hydrants. Yeah, and we will show the concern also to the MUA. Civics and high school liquor license, Ms. Mack, the referendum. There was some discussion.
We are researching and going back through all the different referendums from the first one the various ones that have taken place since that time. We're researching what's specifically designated in each referendum, because you're correct, to the extent those referendums had certain parameters, the only way they can be changed is by virtue of bringing back another referendum. So we're doing an analysis, anything that's not in the referendums, but that was part of an ordinance with the subsequently adopted can be changed by ordinance. So we're going to do an overview. We're going to come back to council, tell them what the referenda said. Obviously, we have to live within the four corners. And then at that point, the council can make determinations to if and how they'll go forward. So we are looking at it, and as we proceed, we'll apprise as to what the process is and what we're finding out.
Thank you, Mr. Crook. All right, and Mr. Harris, in terms of the beautification of our public spaces, I know Ms. Mack brought up flowers in front of the Kennedy sign. And I know Ms. Holly brought up flowers for Beverly Rancocas, but those flowers have been planted along the full Beverly Rancocas.
Yeah, we planted flowers along Veterans Parkway. We planted flowers along Beverly Rancocas and along Van Sciver in all of our flower pots.
Right.
I really haven't given any consideration to planting additional flowers, but that's something that can be discussed.
Okay.
Not guaranteed, but
Not guaranteed,
discussed.
right. Yeah, and especially for this season, yeah, because we still need the ones that mature and bloom on Beverly Rand and the ones you just mentioned.
That is correct. And additionally, we had lavender planted in those pots as well, which I will believe will bloom in July and during the warmer months. So we can look forward to some lavender during the summer months as well.
Okay, thank you. And moving on to Mr. Anderson, his concern was the private road. I think they're in the back end Lake Drive. That is a discussion that we will bring to the that is a county roads and a county park for the Willingboro Lakes. Mr. Anderson, there are commissioner meetings. The Burlington County Commissioners meetings are the second and fourth Wednesday of each month, and they are in person. You can go online and just see where the location is. Burlington County Commissioners, and they're we'll reach out to them also to see what is going on over there, because I did also see, some riders and people going in that park after dark. And I know it's supposed to close at dusk, but I don't think our public safety is responsible for that particular section. Okay, so that will be the county's authority. So I will reach out, or one of our council members will reach out, and if you would like to reach out to, it is Burlington County property. Ms. Mallory, the mic positioning, we can accommodate that. We can put it back on the side where it was facing.
We won't be able to see in the screen.
Yes.
We can figure that out where it can be seen.
And Mary, and IT is still working to correct the volume problem, and we hope to have that resolved by the next meeting.
Okay, now I appreciate that. But we can figure out from the vantage point where we're gonna put it. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so just for the next meeting, we just make sure there's a vantage, we have the right positioning for our public comments to be able to talk to the crowd and to the council. Ms. Mallory, I would ask that you reach out to Mr. Harris concerning the overgrown shrubs, I guess around Hudson and Charleston. And Mr. Harris, can you just address the overgrowth on the backyards on our main thoroughways?
So that's kind of something that's unique to Willingboro, I guess in other areas as well, but that's what is referred to as reverse frontage. So people have the front of their home public roads, but they're equally responsible to keep those roads maintained. I know our code enforcement office, our inspections divisions, just recently or very soon to be sending them out communications to remind them of dead trees or things that may have been around for a long period of time that they want to look to get rid of. and maybe have difficulty finding a method. 2 weeks. Thank you, Mr. Tunstall.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Harris. Moving on to Mr. Turner. Can you just, or anybody on the council can offer clarification as to what was done to include the Pan-Hellenic Council? Because I did understand that we did include them in, or invite them at least, to conversations for the ordinance. So if we can just get some clarification from, okay. Thank you, Dr. Worthing.
Sure, Madam Mayor. The president of the Burlington County Pan-Hellenic Council was, we had a meeting with him, Councilman Anderson and myself, to talk about the initiative, where he was provided a draft copy of the ordinance, and the benches that we were looking at the time, just looking at a company that provides commercial benches. That was probably in March. That those conversations were had and that information was provided. We shared with that we would be taking their perspectives back to the council. And so now I guess they're beginning to share or have meetings and discussions about it. But the initial discussions began back in March, where the information was provided. So not sure what happened in terms of the Pan-Hellenic Council meeting with its body to share the.
All right. Okay. All right, we got it. Got it. We got it. Thank you, Ms. Mack. And then fire hydrants, we will address with the MUA, and our commissioners will address it with the our executive director over there also. There has been complaints, multiple complaints about the edging on especially Beverly Rancocas. There are dead overgrowth that it looks like, I don't know if that's what they did, but it does look like there's some pesticide or weed spray, but it's just left and it kind of grows over the edges. So I know that has been a complaint over the years.
I'll look at that tomorrow, because I don't really know where you're referencing, so I'll.
Yeah, you'll see it. It's correct. Yeah, as Dr. Worthy said, the crusty edges. There is like brown grass and it grows. It's like they sprayed it weed something and it does, go over. Yeah.
Okay, because I know our lawnmowers get up on those medians and cut that grass, so.
It don't cut the edge grass. Right, so the edge, yeah, so the edge, that's been brought up
We'll look at
multiple
it.
times. Did I miss anything? I think I covered all the concerns and questions.
There was something about municipal number painting.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Oh, yes. So there is no requirement or ordinance in the township to have your driveway painted or numbers painted. So that's probably some private company
It is.
coming to look for additional revenues. It's not, the township is not charging anybody to paint numbers on their driveways or sidewalks.
Yeah, so are you aware of a vendor going around
I was not.
from your office, any vendor solicitation? Yeah. Because they do, and they market it as, trying to help the firemen and EMS and public safety. That's how I have heard that. But there should be solicitation license.
That happens and people say they should have a card if they
Right.
have a permit or license. If they do not have that permit or that license, the police need to be called immediately.
Yeah, but okay. So there is no requirement to have these numbers on the, okay. Okay, 6-inch. So just for the benefit of the residents, a 6-inch number is required on the property.
Correct.
Okay, that is required, not necessarily the numbers, the painted numbers on the driveway or on the ledge.
Correct.
Okay. Anything else that I missed? Thank you for that. All right, we will move on to,
Mayor.
yes.
I did talk to IT just now, and so I guess the mic, they could not hear when I said to Ms. Williams, time's up.
Okay.
So these
thank
mic, like Mr. Harris said, they all should be fixed next week.
Okay.
So I did say your time.
You did acknowledge it. Yeah, no, we did. You did. All right. Thank you so much. All right, moving on to council comments. Council have any comments? Go ahead.
I don't have much. I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I also had the pleasure of volunteering at our community garden over the weekend. Their next volunteer community garden day will be on the 27th at JFK in the center courtyard. And that time will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
I just want to thank everyone for coming out to the meeting and for the very interactive dialogue and discussion that we've had this evening. Wanted to remind residents, if you've seen some signs around town for the STEM Academy, it's this Saturday. It's an opportunity for students in grades 5 to 8 to be able to connect with professionals in STEM. The signs have all of the website information, but it is a cooperative between the New Foundation and Dynamic Cobra. Dynamic Cobra Industry. And so you can register for that free event hosted at the JFK. And it's always nice to see community organizations and community members coming together to expose the youth to different opportunities and career fields. I'm also hopeful that the homeowner that we talked about this evening is able to connect with the VSO to be able to find out if there are some options for them that are available for some exemption. I'm glad that the resources are available. Unfortunately, maybe they didn't have it in time, but perhaps there's still an opportunity to connect on that. And I look forward to continuing to work together with my council colleagues as we continue to work on One Willingboro, working with the school district, the MUA, this council, the administration, and the residents to continue to move Willingboro forward and to posture the community for growth and for betterment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Worthy.
Not too much from me, but I just wanted to thank everyone for participating this evening. As always, your comments and questions are helpful for, I can speak, I guess, for all of us that hearing from you helps us make decisions. So again, thank you for participating this evening. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilwoman Perone. And I'd just like to say, first, I appreciate Commissioner Director Hobson coming in and sharing some information. And also for the kids, we did mention they did a really good job today. And again, the directors and the township manager and the clerk for working with them. You know, this is very important. The youth just engaging at least in being, you know, aware of us or interacting with us is very important, just to get their feet wet. I had that opportunity when I was growing up. My parents were really involved and I hated it at the time. And now I'm here. So, you know, it is very fruitful to at least make sure they're engaged and make sure we take the time to incorporate them into, you know, what we do every day. Also, I would like to also thank Gary Johnson for his story today. I love hearing those stories. That's what I think Willingboro is, to your point. I know we focus on infrastructure, we focus on everything, resolutions, but that spirit of Willingboro is what's important and what keeps people here and keeps people coming back. And that story was the epitome or the prototype of what I do feel Willingboro is. And I hope that we continue to emphasize that. We are our brothers and sisters, obviously keeper, our neighbors keepers. And for whoever helped you to, you know, forego finishing the race quicker, they finished the race together. And I appreciate you sharing that today. And I hope we all keep in mind and take something away from that story about the spirit of Willingboro. Also, with connecting the spirit, we really want to make sure we do that Willingboro Connect app. I think it's amazing, you know, and it does keep us engaged and involved. Everywhere I've been going, I've been telling people to sign up because a lot of people still don't know that it exists. So I think we just need to make sure that we push that and have some sort of metric that we're going to utilize to up the numbers, because I think it's a great investment that we have put in, but I just want to make sure it's being utilized properly and effectively, efficiently. But I think it offers a lot of information and people are looking for the information. So I just want to make sure we get that out to our neighbors, make sure they sign up. I have to sit there with people now to sign it up. So I do appreciate that app. And that's it for me tonight. I appreciate everybody coming out. I appreciate the conversation and the input from my co-counsel. Thank you so much. And that is it. No, we do not. It is approved.
I need a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved. Second?
Moved by, aye. Wait, what? No, all in favor?
Aye.
It is 9:45. We are
Little
adjourned.
bit, but-